Hello, welcome to Encore. I'm George.
I'm Dylan.
First movie of the year come out.
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity.
The marked ones. Which is essentially, if it was an iPhone, it would be the iPhone 5C. The 4S, actually, because it's not quite the 5, but it's not the 4.
According to, According to, was it Wikipedia or IMDb, it's a spin-off from the third one.
Yeah, because it's not the fourth one. It's really hard to describe, actually.
This movie, wow.
Yeah.
If you're expecting a good horror movie,
yeah, don't go see
look
it
somewhere else, because a good chunk of this, they literally do it for laughs. This is more comedy than horror.
The first maybe 45 minutes is just pure,
45, 50 minutes. They're just having jokes, and even at the last whatever's remaining of it, there's still funny moments in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should probably talk about the story. Basically, what happens is, where the fuck did it take place?
It took place in Oxnard.
But it looks like New Mexico.
There's a lot of the Mexican ghetto and whatnot.
This kid, we'll call him
Jesse.
Jess?
It was Jesse. Yeah.
There we go. We'll call him Jess.
Odd name for
for a Mexican.
For a Mexican.
Because he just graduates from high school, and he gets this camera. I don't know if he gets it from his dad or he just sort of takes it.
I think it's like his dad gave it to him. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also gets a second one at some point. I don't know where that happened because they have two.
Yeah, because he has a GoPro, one of the little ones. He attaches it to some basket that his friend Oscar. No, not Oscar. What's his friend's Hector? Hector. I get it's a stereotypical movie. They're all like, oh, you can come to my brother's quinceañera, and my cousin's quinceañera, and my sisters, and my uncles, and my aunt's quinceañera. I get that, but you can just be a little bit more, creative with the names. You don't have to be like, oh, this is Juan, Hector,
yeah, exactly.
Jose,
So, they have this neighbor downstairs who performs witchcrafts and shit, and she dies. I don't know if she gets murdered. She just kind of dies.
She's murdered by one of the other Oscar. This kid's name.
She's murdered, and they go. The police tape it off, but throughout the movie, they constantly go into her apartment investigating it. And there's even a point where they just sort of take the tape off. What's the time span of this? A few days, a week.
I would say maybe a week and 2 days at least. It's gonna be.
So they would still have the police tape up and stuff.
Yeah, because it's a murder. It's still a crime scene. They're trying to figure out where this kid is. It would still be there. They wouldn't just take the thing down and then repaint it.
Yeah, literally, it's almost a day or two later they take the police tape off,
and then they're just hey, let's nail some girls we met at a party in the murder house.
Yeah, in the murder house.
I'll just lay you next to the blood pile, and then I'll just start pounding. You're really?
Okay, so when they come out from the apartment, Jess has this bite mark on him, which is marking him because he's the firstborn.
We find that out later. It just he just wakes up the one morning and he's on this arm. He's got this big bite mark, same as the other kid.
And he sort of screws around, he levitates himself. And
he can lean backwards, but it's being in a chair. He can lean back but not fall on the ground. And
they have a Simon Says, and they use that as their Ouija board.
I actually found that to be very, very creative. I like that.
I liked
the green and the red, and it didn't do anything more because you were only getting yes and no answers out of it. You weren't being the Ouija board. It was what's your name? Roger of Roger. It was are you here to hurt me? Nothing. No answers. Are you good? There was no answers. Leave me alone. And it was just red for no. And it was I want you to leave me alone. And it just sat on no until they took the batteries out. Which is weird because I love how you can stop the forces of evil by taking out the 2D batteries out of a Simon Says. So
you can turn it off and on all you want, but
you can just the batteries. It's not working, so I'll just take out the batteries. Forces of Satan. They're oh god damn it, there's no current.
Damn it. If only we were made of some sort of energy. Of course, I had to lean over to you, and I was what does the blue and yellow mean?
Yeah, the blue and yellow is just yes or it's probably just maybe, could be, or something else. It was just one of those cookie catchers.
Getting warmer, getting colder.
Colder, warmer. They are contemporary colors, though.
But, so, from there, basically, Jess starts acting weirder, becoming more seclusive. Eventually, it gets to the point where he tries to find his dog in the murder apartment.
That was a really stupid scene.
It was random. It was like, oh, my dog somehow got in here without opening any of the doors.
Yeah, and it got into a little basement. Like, it's like a trapdoor, and there's like these wooden stairs. Like, there's no way the dog...
And the dog's alive later in the film, too.
There's no way the dog would have been able to get down there without the help of somebody.
Yeah.
But what's, like, really stupid, like, most of the jump scares in the first... Literally, it was...
There's only, like, 2 good jump scares. The rest of them are predictable, or you see them coming.
The one at the very end is probably the second... That one got me. I was actually surprised by that one. And the other one is when the kid jumps off the roof.
Yeah, when he's running away from a crime scene. These guys are trying to light a firework up, and,
I saw that
nothing
coming,
happens.
I
it's
had
like, bam! It's like, okay, he runs off, and then the firework goes off immediately.
Yeah, it was...
It was actually good. Like, they had 3 jump scares in there, and one of them gets you at least.
There was only... But in the span of things, like, when we went to see... When I saw, Insidious 2 and Conjuring in theaters last year, the theater, like, every jump scare was all, like, all the kids in the theater were all like, ah! Like, screaming. But there was only 2 outbursts. Mostly, like, when something happened, like, when he came out of the beaded curtain and tried to scare him, everyone was like, there was no sound. The only sound you heard was like the thump from the theater itself. There was no actual screaming. So there was only like 2 outbursts itself.
Yeah,
but it was very jump scare heavy, but they're mostly just nothing happens.
Like, it's how he gets to the end.
He bends down and there's like a figure behind him when he goes into the thing to get his dog.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh,
you're like, oh, like, it's obvious because you could see like the door was open behind him and he kind of like just like he's looking down and all you can see is his forehead, and then he like looks back up and grabs his camera and he leans over and the figure's standing behind him and the whole theater's like like you could clearly tell that was going to happen. There was no other way that, like, there was no chance that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. Speeding through it a little bit, near the end, spoiler warning.
Wait, I just want to get in the basement when they went down there and he moved the curtains. There was the 2 little girls down there. What the hell was that?
I have no fucking idea.
I figured, like, it took me by surprise, kind of, because I remembered it from the trailer of him moving something back. And there's these 2 little girls in white dresses sitting down there, looking at him in the camera, and it just kind of freaks you out. And you're like, what the hell? But then you start putting things together, and you're just like, those aren't demon children. Like, they're the servers. Like, they're the people. The group is called the Coven, and it's a bunch of women. Is it the Coven?
I don't know. Okay, so fast forwarding through this, after the weird girl thing. So Jesse goes missing because he gets stolen after like a double inside moment almost, where they get into a car accident.
Oh god.
Oh
yeah.
god. And they get to this place, and they bring a gang members, people with them, and this one guy has a shotgun.
He pulls out a Remington and a Heckler and Koch MP5.
And they get to this place, like these like batshit crazy like females come at them. He blows them, and the one guy who's the camera, Hector, is the one left standing. He's running away from his friend who's possessed as shit. They go through this door, and it cuts a bit, and then they end up in the house from the first Paranormal Activity.
Just as the main girl,
which is actually from a scene. If there's a scene in the first one where the girl is possessed, she walks downstairs in the wild, there's nothing.
Oh, and doesn't she scream from the first
And then
one?
she screams for Miko,
or Micah, or Mika.
Yeah,
or
it's that point, but it brings up so many confusing things. Like, one, Miko doesn't have the camera on him, which I'm pretty sure during that scene he did. I mean, through that entire movie, he had fucking plastered to his face.
But what's very confusing, if anybody's like watched the first couple of movies, if you notice, because at the end, because they mention very briefly that there's a door you can go through and it takes you to on a holy place, and at the end, Hector goes through that door and ends up in the very end of the first movie,
or near the end.
Yeah, no, at the end, because she goes downstairs, she's like, Micah, and then it goes down there, and that's when the film ends. That's the alternate ending.
It brings up so many bizarre things, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So that's a huge problem with the film. Is it's too funny.
It's
only
not
2
really,
good jump
it's
scares.
Trying to be funny. It's not. It wasn't.
It tries to be funny. It's not like, oh, haha, this is really stupid. That's what makes it funny. No, they actually made funnier jokes. They made funny things in the film.
It was like, watch the first 45 minutes for a comedy, and the rest of it's just like, what the hell? Like, this is really boring and stupid. But
and then near the end, they just sort of like continuity. What is that?
It goes overboard. As soon as he pulls out the Remington, the shotgun, it's just like, well, we're jumping the shark. Okay.
So, terrible movie. Terrible start to 2014 with films.
Yeah.
What
are you gonna give it?
Wait, I don't think we write things in Encore. I haven't done an Encore for a while. Wait,
Yeah, we
do. We do, thank
Yeah.
you.
Quick.
3.5.
3.5? Wow.
It was funny. I like the
Wow.
funny stuff, and the 2 jump scares were actually good.
I'm gonna
Beyond that, though.
I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna give it a 6 because I wasn't horribly disappointed. Like it was not
4.
a good.
There you go. 4 out of 10.
It wasn't-
You convinced me.
It wasn't a good movie, but it didn't bother me. Like if it was on TV, I would probably watch it again.
Yeah, it wasn't like I hated it, but I didn't really.
Yeah,
like
you weren't
it
like,
either.
oh my god, it was so stupid. It actually kept me kind of interested, slightly, but it wasn't a great movie, so I'd say 6. Like it was not good, but it wasn't shit. So it was like in the middle, kind of. It was just like riding it.
Yeah.
So other than that, yeah, it was okay. It was just a meh.
The 5th one has to be better.
That'll be October 23rd.
So yeah.
Yeah. God, I hate paranormal activity. Oh god.